Burn my damn finger.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
You remember when you was only 2 years old?
No,
You came into my life.
I don't.
Okay, who left the toilet running?
Whoa!
And many more.
Hallelujah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is me once again. I am back. It's your boy, Podcast Peaks, aka Justin Meat Peaks, or Justin Meat Peaks, aka Podcast Peaks, whichever one works better for you. I know it's been a while. And I do apologize. I had to get my life together, and not really in a bad way. Just I've been busy. I promise that I'm going to dedicate more time to making sure I reach out to you guys and get more content out to you on a regular basis. But I do apologize for this reprieve since the last episode. I know I had a recap where we talked about everything thus far and where we're going with this show. But it took me a minute to get back here. But hopefully all you guys had a wonderful holiday. It is now going into December, which is my favorite month, least favorite time of the year. Mostly because it's cold. I hate being cold, but that's for another podcast, another day, another story. But here we are. Once again, we are back. Episode 6 of Make It Make Sense podcast. And I'm going to talk to you about a couple things tonight. First and foremost, we're going to talk about L.G.B.T.Q. We're going to talk about the cancel culture, and we're just going to talk about a basic question, but mostly rhetorical, with someone. Please give me an answer. Have we given up? So let's jump right into this. L.G.B.T.Q. As we all know, that stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer. And I know they've added some more stuff since then, but let's just be honest. I don't know what those things are. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to look it up. So let's get back to it. So LGBTQ, I would like to phrase that for this evening's podcast as instead of being lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and queer, I'm going to change it to let's get back to the question. So let's get back to the question at hand. What spurred this particular topic and this particular conversation goes back to the more recent attention given to the stand-up comedian Dave Chappelle from that particular group of people, the LGBTQ community. And I'll be honest with you, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. This episode may or may not resonate with you, may piss you off, it may make you upset. In either situation, whether you're pissed off, upset, or you agree with me or don't agree with me, I would love to hear back from you guys. This is a type of show where I want to get my audience's reactions, and I want to have these conversations because, again, the name of the podcast is Make It Make Sense. So for me, the only way to make it make sense is sometimes we got to talk about shit, especially the uncomfortable shit. But let's get back to the question, are LGBTQ? So recently, of course, Dave Chappelle, being a comedian of sorts, does these, his stand-ups, and he speaks his truth. He speaks his truth, and he speaks what's on his mind and how he feels about things. And of course, he does it in a comedic way, but never meant to, be harmful or to, never meant to really just, come or attack anyone's way of life. Just, being a comedian, as comedians do. They poke fun at things in society or, in history, and they turn it into material, and they try to make it, comical, even though most times things in history aren't worth laughing at because they were very serious. But I'm sorry about the noise in the background. My dog has a new bone, and he just keeps on dropping it. It's big as hell. But anyway, so when it comes back to the lesbian, gay, the bisexual, the trans, queer community, um, I wanted to change the acronym to let's get back to the question, because the question I have is, what the fuck do you people want? What do you want? Like, what do you want? And I'm asking this question not because I'm ignorant or because I don't have any understanding of this community or anything like that. Like I have plenty of friends and family members who are part of this community who I love and support in every aspect of their lives, no matter what. But when it comes to this particular community, like I kind of want to know, like, what is it that you people want? Let's get back to the question. The question is, what do you want? So I can say, as a man going into his 40s, I've been around for a while, and I remember there was a time where being openly homosexual was not a thing; it was frowned upon. And then later on, in the years, later of my life, um, people became more openly accepting to homosexuality to an extent, of course. We know the history of this country, but also, just people being more like willing to, as they say, come out of the closet and be their true selves. So, in that time frame, right? Unless I will say, how old am I now? So let's say 15 years. In the last 15 years, all right? In the last 15 years, I've watched this community come out. I've watched this community, stand up. I've heard, the chants, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. I mean, hell, I love queer for the straight guy. Totally not a plug, but it's still one of those things. And I was there when they said we want the same rights as straight couples. We want to be able to marry who we love, no matter what their gender is. We want to be able to adopt without being, restricted or blocked because of our lifestyle. Like I remember those very specific things that this community was advocating for, and I remember them talking about, wanting to be able to marry and wanting their spouses or their better halves to benefit from the company's benefits. And I mean, for me, what they were asking for, and it wasn't like they weren't asking for like religion to be changed, and they weren't asking for, any type of accommodation that most, if not every human being, not American, just human being, can enjoy, to the extent of being able to publicly love someone. But in reality, what they were asking for was a political move. It was 100% governments and corporations that they were up against. They weren't up against the church. They weren't up against historians. They weren't up against astrologers. Like they were up against government. They were up against government, trying to get the government to recognize their union and their love in order for them to benefit from it. Not to say that that's wrong, because again, as African Americans in this country, myself included, we've always advocated for our decent human rights, to, equal to that of our white counterparts. But again, they wanted something that was like, if I marry a guy and a guy, is my spouse and I take him as my husband or wife, whatever you want to call it, and I somehow fall ill or, accidental death, so forth and so on, my spouse should benefit from like my health insurance or my life insurance. And of course, that, like, again, that's political. It's government and policies they were fighting up against. But I knew what they wanted. Like I knew what they were asking for. Like this was the gay and lesbian community. And I have to point it out. The gay and lesbian community. Not the bisexual community. Because again, it was the gay and lesbian community, not the transgenders or the transsexuals. Which again, has it changed? It was transsexual when I was coming up. Is it no longer transsexual? Is it transgender now? I don't know. And then of course the last one being queer. Which, by the way, I find it very funny that queer now is considered a part of this community, or as a group. As like queer when I was growing up, queer is what you said to somebody as an insult almost, but also just like a kind of calling them out on saying like, oh, you're not really coming off one way or the other, so you're queer. Which, ironically enough, the definition of queer is, I think it's actually like having questionable sexuality, as far as like not knowing what sexuality you want to choose. I didn't mean for that to clap, but that is not what I was going for. We're gonna let that clap roll. I do apologize for that. Slip of the finger. But when we're talking about these communities, like, again, let's get back to the question: what is it that you want? And the reason I'm making this point is it goes back to what Dave Chappelle and the transgender community having such a big issue with Dave Chappelle and the jokes that he makes. And at the end of the day, I have to ask the question, like, what is it that you want? Like, what is it? It's not even like it's a bad enough kind of situation, but it's like, look, lesbians and gay people, homosexual men, fought for the right to marry and love one another publicly and be accepted by their government and recognized by their employers. Okay, that's what they want. That's real. That affects one's way of living, like, how they can actually provide for a family. Like, that's tangible. Like, I see that. I never knew what the bisexual community was asking for. I really don't know what they're asking for. Are they asking for anything? Because I don't know. Are they asking for anything? Okay. And then the transgender and transsexual community. And in the past, like 15 years ago, when I was experiencing or when I was coming across the whole the whole lesbian gay community, like when I first came into like real contact with them, in college, like that's when I actually met openly gay people. And in that time, transgenders or transsexuals, at the time it was transsexuals, all they really were saying is that we're men or women who feel like, or we want to be like the opposite sex. So they had, some people, like there was a time where sex changes were a thing, like people were getting sex changes, and I I don't see the problem necessarily in like what they are saying they want. I think my question is, how do you want me to acknowledge that you were? Jeez, my dog is nuts. But how do you want me to acknowledge that you were born a man and now you feel like you're a woman? So you want me to, I don't know, rewrite your birth certificate? Like, it's one of those things where, like, in nature, you were born a boy. Even though you may feel like a woman now, you were born a boy. So it's kind of hard for me to differentiate from your origin story. Like, it's kind of hard. Like, I can't rewrite your origin story. But then now, in the current times, they're asking, to be identified by a different pronoun. This part I have a problem with. I have a problem with the pronoun part because, and again, you can say I'm being an ass. You can say whatever you want about me. It's okay. Just make sure you say it to my face or to my, chat or my inbox. If I know your name, like if you're Steve, but you feel like Stephanie and you go by Stephanie, why the fuck do I have to change your pronoun as well? Why can't I just say, okay, well, hey, Stephanie? And some people are like, well, that you use it if it's possessive. Like if someone asks, like, hey, whose cup is this? Would you say it's her cup or his cup? I would say it's Stephanie's cup, so people know exactly who the fuck I'm talking about. So like that, so that's my problem with the transgender community, or that whole what are you asking for? You're asking me to change the pronouns that I use to address you. And again, here's the thing. As much as people want to be recognized for feeling the way that they're feeling, or as much as people want to be, identified the way they want to be identified, at the end of the fucking day, it's literally just what you want. And the world literally doesn't owe you a thing to give a fuck what you want. Meaning, if you have the right to ask to be called he, her, him, so, I have the right to say no. And it's like the problem that I have with people around this particular conversation is like, you guys act like because someone is gay or of a different sexual preference, what they want automatically shoots to the high priority of the list. And if you don't agree with that, then you're wrong. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because as a black man in America, I have to accept someone's pronouns because they feel some type of way. But I can't even get the country to recognize that critical race theory is not a theory. It's the history of our country, but we still ignore that. We still think it's a problem. So we can ignore racism, but acknowledge pronouns. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? Like, seriously, what is the question? Like, what are we asking for? Let's get back to the question. What are we asking for again? Because I'm asking for the justice system to find a cop guilty for killing a black kid when he didn't have a gun or any prior records. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that. And y'all want me to change pronouns? Like, I'm sorry, but I agree with Dave Chappelle. Like, what the fuck are we looking at? Where as a black man in this country, it's still dangerous for me to reach for my wallet too fast doing a routine traffic stop. But if the officer that pulls me over is Officer Steve O'Malley, but he feels like Stephanie O'Malley, and I say sir, and he gets offended because I didn't say ma'am, it's just, let's get back to the question at hand. What the fuck are you people asking for? Which takes me into my next topic. But let's be clear, it's not just about gay and lesbians. It's not like I'm not bashing anyone or anything that this community is asking for. I just want it to make sense. I just want some clarity on what's actually happening. Dog, if you don't back the fuck up. So, with that being said, the cancel culture, like, what the fuck, man? Y'all can cancel these nuts. Like, that blows my mind. Cancel culture. Like, what is y'all on? What are y'all on? And the crazy part is, it's not people within this community of that I just spoke of alone. It's not just them. It's literally people from all walks of life a part of this cancel culture, just trying to cancel every goddamn thing that's walking. And my example to what that is if y'all have recently seen this post about them calling Michael Myers a fictional character homophobic for killing a gay couple in the most recent Halloween movie. Are you serious? A fictional character who has been murdering people for over 20 years kills a gay couple in 2021, and all of a sudden he's homophobic and they want to cancel him. What the fuck? Like, seriously, what are you people asking for? For those in that community, what are you asking for? Black people are the first people, if not some of the first people to die in horror movies since horror movies been created. We trying to survive these fucking movies, man. Shit, we've said it a number of times. Black people don't be in horror movies because we wouldn't be in these type of situations. But you, in this community, you ask for these rights. You ask for this equality. You ask for this opportunity to be seen just like everybody else is being seen. And when a gay couple is killed in a fucking horror movie for the first time ever, oh, the killer must be homophobic. What? He don't even talk. He don't even use words. And all of a sudden, this man is homophobic. It's a fictional character. Fictional character. So y'all just trying to cancel every goddamn thing. And it ain't just the lesbian, gay, and bisexual and trans community. No, it ain't just them. I seen a thing just the other day. It's probably not even the other day, just within this last month. The fucking PETA, not the bread, goddammit. The protection for animals. Them people, PETA. They want to change, or they're not even. They don't want to change, but they're petitioning or rallying up against the MLB to change the name of where the players stand from the bullpen to something else. That is the wild. Baseball's been around since like the 1800s. And nothing about the bullpen has ever in the history of baseball been about animals. Like literally, no animal has ever been in the bullpen by way of the MLB's rules or regulation. So now PETA wants to cancel or just change bullpen because of the negative connotation behind bullpens or the negative association with a bullpen. What in the absolute flying hockey fuck is that about? Somebody help me understand. Please, people, make it make sense. I mean, I just don't get it. What exactly are we asking for? You got communities trying to come up against comedians for making jokes, what they've always done. You got organizations to protect animals trying to change the name. Like, bulls don't give a fuck. The bull is over there nowhere near a bullpen. Nowhere near a bullpen. And y'all want to change the name because what? Some cow told you they was easily offended by a bullpen? I just don't get it. So this cancel culture, like everything that's offensive or someone, takes it the wrong way, we trying to shut down everything that's fucking moving. We want to shut down everything. Everybody getting canceled. Everybody getting shut down. Oh man, he farted and didn't say excuse me. We gonna cancel him. Like y'all cancel more shit than motherfuckers were trying to get free trials. Like y'all cancel anything. So I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't understand what the community is asking for. I'm gonna refer to them as the community from now on. I think that's actually a pretty cool way to address them, like y'all from the community. Um, but take that or leave it. But from the community to the cancel culture people, like, what is y'all? What are we doing here? Yeah, I mean, what are we actually doing? Which brings me to my final point, which it all ties together, is have we given up? Have we given up on trying to understand one another? Have we given up on trying to push through difficulties to get to the root of a situation? Like, have we just given up on fighting the good fight? You know what I'm saying? Like we are fighting for shit that don't make fucking sense. We canceling things that we don't like rather than try to understand or at least express why we don't like it so that way we can come to some mutual understanding. No, we just give up. We just fucking give up. Everything, just give up. Like this is the craziest shit I've ever seen where just everybody's giving up. Ain't nobody trying no more. Just give up. Cancel everybody. Cancel every fucking thing. And I've said this on countless occasions to my coworkers, colleagues, to my friends, family. As a black man in this country, if I'm in a room full of people, I want to know who the racist people are in the room. And it's not because I want to avoid them. No. I want to talk to the racists in the room. And the reason why I want to talk to the racists is because I don't need to necessarily correct you. I don't need to change what you think or feel. I don't need to do any of those things. I just want to understand you. I just want to understand you. And that's what I want. But see, because if I understand you and I know how you think and I know how you function and I know how you operate, then it 100% allows me to put in the appropriate amount of energy into the interactions that we have and how I handle myself. If I know for a fact that I'm being pulled over by a racist cop and I know they're racist, and no matter what I say or no matter what I say, my black skin has condemned me to the worst possible interaction that I'm gonna get out of this man. So then if I know that, then I know going into I'm not gonna waste my energy trying to argue with them. I'm not gonna waste my energy trying to prove my innocence in this particular moment that's outside of the court of law. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna give it the energy I need so that I can walk away from this situation in the best possible condition that I can be in. I'm not trying to argue with nobody that's a racist because I know that the argument is not going to be one that is worth having. If I know that I'm talking to a racist and I know for a fact that you only listening to half of what I say because I'm black, then I got to make sure that that half you get is the most important half I got. And I got to make sure that you get the message within that half. If you're listening to half of what I say, I got half the time. I got, you know what I'm saying? I can't waste no steps. So therefore, I can't waste no energy, on missteps. I need to make sure that I'm stepping and moving in the direction that's going to get me closest to my goal. And that's why I have to ask the question, have we just given up? Like, have we given up on having, tough times? I heard this quote just recently where it says, uh, tough times make easy men, or something. It's something along, I got to find it, but it's something along the lines of, tough times make hard men, hard men make easy times, or something along the lines of that nature. I gotta find this, a real deep quote. But what it basically means is that tough times produces people who know how to get through tough times and they how to work through the situation, and they keep pushing and they don't stop. But those same people, when they keep pushing, they keep moving and don't stop, they create easier times. And in those easier times, the next generation is born and they don't have to work as hard. So then not being able to work as hard or do as much as the hard people did, they start to experience tough times. And then those easy people create new tough times that the next generation has to get through those tough times to create another cycle. It's a cycle. It's not necessarily a vicious cycle, but it's definitely a cycle that makes sense. If someone comes along and do all the work for you, it's definitely easier for you. But then when you hit that road, that bump in the road where you gotta do some work, now it's hard because you ain't never had to do no hard work. You ain't never had to put that time in, which makes it a hard situation for you. And then the cycle continues where now you've created your own hard situation. That hard situation will create hard people. Hard people will create, solutions or easy situations. And out of those easy situations will be more easy people. It's a cycle. And it's a deep little quote, but that's why I have to ask the question: have we given up? Have we given up on having a culture in which we not necessarily argue, but just shit, let's stand up for what you believe in, fight for what you want to fight for. And if you don't like what I have to say, then you just don't like what I have to say. But just the cancel culture, like y'all just want to shut down everybody and everything because they got a difference of opinion. Like, opinions is what actually moves the world. If we all agreed, then I don't know if we would be stagnant. I don't know if we'd be progressing, but I know for sure that um, it would not produce the same level of responses that you get when there is conflict and there is disagreement. And there's an opinion. Opinions allow for people to grow exponentially, and it's by leaps and bounds because your opinion that may differ from mine. Maybe that one thing that triggers a series of events that pushes me beyond my limit. So it's important that we still have these conversations, and I just need to know, have we given up? Has we as a people given up on just literally being able to have difficult times but still get through them? And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing based on the uh, little proverb that I was trying to drop, but I couldn't remember word for word. I'm gonna get it though. But again, what are we doing? Have we given up? Have we given up? Which leads us to canceling everybody. And are we canceling everybody because when we get back down to the question at hand, we don't even know what we're asking for? I don't think there are people out here who don't know what they want, but I definitely think there are people out here who are lost. And because you're lost, you don't know what you want. You don't know if you're coming or going. You don't know if you're doing in circles. You don't know if you're going in squares, zigzags. You're lost. And I'm not saying that people who are, of the community are lost. No, if you feel how you feel, you love who you love, God damn it, I support that shit. Rock and roll. But no, it's a lot that is happening in this world where let's get back to the question at hand. What are we doing? What are we here for? What are we trying to accomplish? Where are we trying to be at with this? That's the question at hand. So that way, if we know the question that we're asking, we know what answer we're looking for, and we begin to figure out how to get to that solution. So, but again, to get to the answer, for you to get 4, 2 plus 2 had to happen. So before you even begin to say, I got the solution, you got to have the problem. That's why I don't understand the situations we're in. You have to have the problem in order to have the solution. That's how life works. If there's a problem, you find a solution. No man, woman, or child or creature on this earth has showed up with the solution without ever having the problem to begin with. That's just how that works. So rather than canceling, we need to look for those solutions for the problems we didn't even realize we had. And of course, last but not least, have we given up? God, I hope not. I really hope not. I want it to be a long time before we say we really gave up. But that's the question. And at the end of the day, I just want to make it make sense. I want it to make sense for somebody. Because what I'm saying out here may be a lot of my opinion, but somebody out there may share this opinion. And they need to know that they're not alone. You know? So here we are. But again, I apologize for the delay, but it is your boy, Podcast Peaks, here with Make It Make Sense Podcast. I'm signing off until next time. In the meantime, in between time, y'all stay safe out there. I heard Omicron's coming, so, next thing you know, we're going to get Unicron. And if you don't get the Unicron reference, then damn it, we are not anywhere close to the same age group. So I'll holla at y'all. Be safe.
Burn my damn finger.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
You remember when you was only 2 years old?
No,
You came into my life.
I don't.
Okay, who left the toilet running?
Wow!
And many more.